Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Anisa Febrianti, usually called Anisa. I studied at the State Islamic University of Maulana Malik Ibrahim Malang, Faculty of Science and Technology, Chemistry Study Program. My place of birth is Pasuruan. I'm 19 years old. Here I will explain a summary of videos 5 and 6 in the environmental chemistry course. For the 5 video, aeration is a process of adding air or oxygen in the water by bringing water and air into close contact, by spraying water into the air, or by providing fine bubbles of air and allowing it to rise through the water. In carrying out this aeration process, it is necessary to use a tool called an aerator. Aeration in plants is an effort to make holes where oxygen enters so that it can be known whether there is a growth process or decomposition after the oxygen enters, because oxygen is very reactive. The function of aeration is to increase the amount of oxygen in the water, so it is very beneficial for the body because it can reduce the ions that are not good in the water that we might drink. The main function of aeration in water treatment is to dissolve oxygen into the water, to increase the dissolved oxygen level in the water, and to release the dissolved gases in the water, and to help stir the water. With aeration helps the ions dissolved in the water can be oxidized. Aeration itself is divided into two, namely natural aeration and artificial aeration. Natural aeration is, for example, the movement of river water and ocean waves, while artificial aeration is, for example, aeration in an aquarium or wastewater treatment with the help of an aerator. The working principle of this tool is to add dissolved oxygen in the water. Then the main task of this aerator is to enlarge the contact surface between water and air. An example of aeration in nature is water moving in a river. Usually the oxygen is high and fish-like, even the waves on the beach are air Asia, beach source. Aeration is in the wave surface for marine biota such as photosynthesis and breathing fish. Seawater contains a lot of ions. When it meets oxygen, it will form a solid oxide from which the emergence ocean in the sea. Why is it so important that the dissolved ions and oxygen in this clear water contain good ions? Because later it is consumed by living things, including ourselves. In clear water, there are not always ions that are good for your bodies. Even clear water, it does not contain ions that are not good for the body dissolved in clear water. It also does not necessarily contain iron and minerals that meet health limits. Even when water that looks clear when filtered but turns out to contain high ions. It is not feasible to be disposed of in the environment, so it needs to be aerated. Each aeration process is carried out for 30 minutes so that the water that has fallen through the cascade step will be pumped back to the water tone. This step is carried out for 30 minutes. And for the sixth video explain, alum or aluminum sulfate is commonly known as alum. Usually in everyday life can be used as a deodorizer. The aluminum contained in this is one kind of heavy metal. As a result, the water that is given alum can agglomerate the dirt so that it becomes clearer, and when in sari it will become clear. The working principle of the addition of alum or screening is the use of carbon as a coagulant, which in the colloid system all have repulsion interaction because they have the same charge. So with the addition of coagulant, the skin will be attracted to the coagulant. Coagulant is able to have layers so that it will then stick to each layer and enlarge and then settle to form solids that are mixed with clarification or sedimentation. After being transferred, it will go into a filtration filter called slow sandwich consists of several layers for the absorption process so that the water becomes clear. The beginning of this water purification requires a sample of 30 urban water. Then how is this processed in a test tube of a purified water solution with alum which is clear when stirred, while the one without alum still looks very cloudy. After that, the water is filtered or the filtered again so that the alum works clear using the dirt was lamps are very. There, there is also a danger from aluminum sulfate to health, which can cause skin irritation, can cause irritation to muscles, membranes, can cause lung damage, can cause vomiting, can cause ion balance disorders in the blood, can cause degener- degeneration of nervous system disease, and also can increase the risk of cancer and Alzheimer's disease. There is also a danger of aluminum sulfate to the environment, namely, it can cause health problems in animals and plants, can increase phosphate levels in water, can cause reproductive problems in animals, and can also cause the decrease in the number of living things. That a summary that I can convey. If there is a wrong word, I apologize. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.